rockets. And what our law is, it says that it is illegal to sell them in the state of North Dakota right now. But it's okay to shoot them. So what people are doing is they're going to the Indian reservations buying them, to South Dakota buying them, and I think in Montana, but I'm not positive of that. So what this bill asked us to do is just pass the bill, let them buy them in North Dakota, because they're shooting them already. So your committee voted 5-2 for a due pass, and we ask the Senate to concur.
Any further discussion? Senator Elke.
Mr. President, I'm standing in front of the senator from District 1. Might be a little hazardous at this point in time because I'm going to oppose the idea of allowing the sale of bottle rockets in North Dakota again. I was the main sponsor of this idea a few years ago, and if you want to pay attention to statistics, you'll find out that prior to this legislation in 2009, there were a significant number of injuries from bottle rockets. Since then, they really haven't cared to pay attention to statistics because there really haven't been injuries from bottle rockets. If you look at a nationwide attitude and the statistics on that end, you'll find that out of 9,000 injuries from fireworks in general nationwide, 50% of those happen with bottle rockets. Now you might wonder why that is. Well, have you ever played with bottle rockets? Because it gets to be a real game. The problem with bottle rockets is you cannot really control where they go. And it's not usually the person that's firing them off that has the injury. It's generally someone who's an innocent bystander who didn't expect it to happen at all. They may not even be close to the person that's firing it. In fact, that might be the safest place if they stand right behind them. But the fact is, once that bottle rocket is out of the chute, it will go any direction. Now, I know the senator from District 1 is very familiar with firearms. Let's pretend that you can load your gun, and when the bullet, when you pull the trigger, you know where the explosion happens. It happens in the chamber. The bullet goes down the barrel of the gun, and you know where it's going. But let's pretend for a moment that as soon as that bullet exited the barrel, it might go in any direction, including circle around and come back. Well, folks, that's why we didn't want to have the sale of bottle rockets in North Dakota. Can you shoot them off? I guess it's a right if you really want to go to the trouble. But the fact is, most people don't go to the trouble. Minnesota, the state to our east, good old Minnesota, they haven't sold bottle rockets for years. But yes, there are places you can go to get bottle rockets. If you want to go to that trouble, I guess that's fine with me. But think about also, in addition to the injuries to people, think about the fire hazard. My brother was a fire chief in Devil's Lake for 25 years. And every 4th of July during that period of time, when fireworks were able to be shot off in our neck of the woods, he made sure that there were X number of volunteers on duty at all times. Don't leave town. Something's going to happen. And it was always those little devils, those bottle rockets that were the culprits. It might be a grass fire on the edge of town. It might be a fire in somebody's eave because a bottle rocket got stuck up there. And by the way, they don't just go out necessarily when they explode. Occasionally they'll lodge in the... In fact, I found one of those on my home on 6th Street in Devil's Lake when I came home after 4th of July, and I looked up, and there right in the eave was a bottle rocket stuck and a flash burn underneath it. Fortunately, I had steel siding and steel soffits, so all I had to do was clean the smudge mark off, and I was good to go. But I looked across the street, went like this, waggled my finger at the little 6th grade neighbor, called him over and said, "Scotty, Were you shooting off bottle rockets? No. Are you sure? No. Well, the fact is, it could have burned the whole house down. It didn't happen, but those are the kind of hazards that do happen. And believe me, firemen don't appreciate that. They don't want to have to work overtime and be available on the 4th of July anyhow. So, last time when we passed this legislation, my name was sort of mud for a while. But I thought it was very interesting in the halls of the chamber and in the Great Hall, and when I got home to my district, and people said, "Why'd you get rid of those darn bottle rockets anyway? We really like those." And then they'd proceed to pull up their pant leg or their arm, and they'd say, "See this? This I got when my brother and I were shooting bottle rockets at each other." Or one came back and hit me. Everybody had a story about a near miss or a scar to show me relative to bottle rockets. And that was exactly my point. This isn't about freedom. This isn't about enjoying the 4th of July. Mr. President, this is about eyes getting put out or severe injuries to people. These are indiscriminate little objects that take off and go any darn where they want to. So although it might all be good fun, it's only good fun until somebody gets their eye poked out. So I would urge a red vote on House Bill 1257. Thank you.
Senator Andrist.
Well, Mr. President, I have a question for the carrier on the bill. He said we should vote to sell the bottle rockets because it's not illegal to explode them. Did the committee talk about then making it illegal to sell them or to explode them? Excuse me.
Senator Leeson, do you wish to answer the question?
Mr. President, we did talk about it was illegal to sell them, but it was legal to shoot them, and we did talk about making a change. We did not do that, and I think that's the case here. The last speaker we heard talked about all the injuries. If you couldn't shoot them, maybe you wouldn't have the injuries. But we're saying here, you just can't buy them. That's what the law in North Dakota is. So if we're not going to say you can't shoot them, let our people sell them so that people don't have to run to the reservations or South Dakota or wherever else and buy them. So vote green, and maybe we can change it next time.
Senator Sinner.
Mr. President, I'd like to tell a little story. In the summer of 2008, my nephew, Bo Sinner, was playing around with some friends of his. And little to Bo's awareness, one of his friends started lighting off bottle rockets. And one of those bottle rockets hit him in the left eye. Today, he can't see out of his left eye. But there's more to the story. Bo was a legitimate Division I athlete, one of the best in North Dakota, was Player of the Year in baseball, and was his Senior Athlete of the Year when he was a senior, even after he got injured. Today, he's given up his athletic career. My friends, this bill is not about liberty. This bill is a bill for the fireworks industry to sell more stuff. And you know as well as I do that when somebody goes to buy fireworks, they walk in there with their $25 or their $50 or their $100, and that's what they buy. And they don't buy something because they can't buy bottle rockets. They just keep on buying until they got what their $100 worth. It's not going to hurt anybody. The statistics are really rather alarming. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, there are almost 9,000 fireworks injuries every year. and a third of those are to the ayes. And nearly all of those come from bottle rockets. I rest my case. Vote no.
Senator Bowman.
Yeah, Mr. President, a quick question to the carrier.
State your question.
The question is who is liable when there is a severe injury? Somebody should be liable, and does your insurance cover that on your homeowners, or who covers that if there is?
Senator Leeson, do you wish to answer the question?
Mr. President, I would imagine the liability would be on the parents of the child that shot him. I don't know. That is not what this bill is about. This bill is whether we can sell them in North Dakota. Now, if all of these people have had all of these injuries and everybody's gotten hurt, why aren't we coming up with a bill saying we can't shoot them in North Dakota? That's not the case. This bill says you just can't sell them here, but you can still shoot them. So unless we want these people, they could put a bill in like anybody else and get it passed, and I would have passed it. But that is not what this bill is about. This bill says you cannot sell them in North Dakota.
Senator Nelson.
Just one thing, Mr. President. There are cities that have ordinances against shooting off fireworks within the city limits.
Senator Andrist.
Well, Mr. President and my colleagues in the Senate, I would suggest instead of voting green and fixing it next year, that we vote red this year, and maybe some kid will have two eyes that otherwise wouldn't have.
Senator Sinner.
Just want to say one more thing, Mr. President. That is that since 2009, there have been hardly any injuries in North Dakota due to bottle rockets. That's because if people can't buy them, they don't use them.
Further discussion. Senator Armstrong.
Mr. President, from the committee's perspective, I think there's a couple things I'd like to point out. One, the data we got is that before 2009, there were very few injuries in bottle rockets, and I think that kind of fundamentally runs around what the issue was. Is we can say there's a 50% decrease and those types of things, but the numbers seem to be, from the information that was presented to committee, were very low beforehand. And I said this before, but in committee, and I'll say it again, I mean, whether it's BB guns or pellet guns or paintball guns or jet skis or things, there are a lot of things that are inherently somewhat dangerous, primarily if they're misused. And when we start parsing out particular things based on particular issues, it was brought up that it's a responsibility issue, a parenting issue, and a personal choice issue, and the outlawing of particular products based on a lot, and I should say a lot of the bottle rocket injuries are due to misuse. And I mean, what is commonly referred to as a bottle rocket war and things of those natures. But the numbers we got in committee were even before the ban. There wasn't this wasn't a hundreds and hundreds of cases a year that dropped down to 50. This was like 5 that dropped to 2, or 2 that dropped to 1 from the data that was provided to us. So.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the final passage of House Bill 1257. Would the Secretary please open the key? All senators have voted. Any senator wishing to change their vote? Secretary closed the key. Final tally on House Bill 1257 reveals 17 senators voting yea, 29 senators voting nay, 1 senator absent and not voting. The bill is lost. House Bill 1114. Mr. Secretary.